Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the IWC Ingenieur Chronograph Racer reference 378509. You can see this motorsports-inspired stainless steel flyback chronograph and buy it on our website, watchyouwant.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc., if you enjoy these videos. And if you'd like to see the entire listing for this watch with accessories included, high-resolution images and naturally complete pricing, click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video for the full listing. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, the Chronograph Racer is classically inspired by Gerald Genta, who designed the Ingenieur SL model, the reference 1832, in the late 1970s, in the same vein as his Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, in the same vein as his Patek Philippe Nautilus. And you can see the very 70s style cushion case, as well as the raised bezel, itself a strong standout element of the design, and even the integration of the strap and the lugs speaks to Genta's original design vision. Now this is far larger than that original watch, this watch being 45 millimeters across what would be the round of the case, so essentially 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock minus the crown. In terms of thickness, this is a reasonably thick but not overwhelmingly girthy timepiece. 14.5 millimeters, but you can see how the step of the bezel really allows a tighter sleeve. Yes, even a formal sleeve, to get a ramping run up and over the flanks of the case. The biggest dimension of this watch, the one where it really marks itself as an oversized modern watch, is the lug to lug measurement. 56.5 from extremity to opposite extremity. The watch has tremendous stance across the wrist, and with a solid case back and a massive case profile, it really does feel almost like you're wearing white gold on the wrist. It is very hefty. It's very impressive. This is the feel of a premium timepiece. If you're the type that doesn't like titanium, doesn't like the lightness of ceramic or forged carbon, this is your steel complication. Now the watch has superb ergonomics in as much as, despite the vast swell of the extremities, the lug to lug, the watch actually has a little bit of a countersunk underslung strap. You can see how the pivot point, as defined by the pin bar, is actually underneath the lug and inboard of the extremity. So the watch does wear smaller. If you have a smaller wrist like mine, 16 centimeters, 15 centimeters, you're still going to be able to wear this watch with security and proportion. It will meet you halfway. And this is one of the finest straps I've ever seen on an IWC Ingenieur for a couple of reasons. First, I absolutely love the color combination. A beautiful navy blue rectangular scale alligator leather with a contrasting white stitch pops against a black natural vulcanized rubber strap. Now it's rubber on the bottom. You can also see that there are relief channels to allow sweat, heat, grit to escape the wrist during periods of activity, and the rubber isolates the leather from the oils of your wrist and the sweat of your wrist. You'll also note that there are little surrounds that effectively act as buffers between the pin of the buckle and the rubber and the leather of the strap. So this little buffer ring prevents gouging and allows the strap to wear durably and long term. This is far more than the typical 2 to 3 year strap. This is a keeper for the long term. It's also an easy one to swap out, as IWC uses a tool-free, or I should say screwdriver-free, strap release system. You can see the tab on the bottom on each side. Simply push it, and then with a toothpick, slide the pin bar out. It's not a spring bar. It has to be positively released. But the nice thing is, you don't need the intervention of a jeweler or a specialized tool to remove it. You can do that at home. Should you want to put the watch on a rubber strap or a textile, full rubber I mean, you can take the watch in the water, as it is 120 meters water resistant. Now, the timepiece itself is a remarkable piece of work. The contrasting finish on the metal is superb, alternately brushed and polished. You can also see how the lugs themselves are stepped out to add character and definition to the case flanks. You'll also note the same on the lug hoods, as well as the gorgeous polished bevel on each flank, again reminiscent of the metallurgy on the Nautilus and the Royal Oak. You can also see the same applied to the crown guards and the high polished crown. The dial itself is spectacular, a beautiful combination of applied silver. Yes, this is actually a silver plated dial with gorgeous blue elements that contrast dramatically. It is incredibly legible in any light, bright, low or no light. It is fully loomed. Now what's exceptional is that there's an engine-turned sort of concentric circular grain to the primary dial, and then each of the sunken sub-registers is not only a different silvered tone, but it also has its own internal guilloche that cuts and defines the registers. It's also beautifully balanced in as much as there's a mono counter for the chronograph. May as well start everything up. But there is a mono counter for the chronograph at 12 o'clock, and that mono counter features both hours and minutes. So you do have chronograph seconds, minutes, and hours, but you have a 2-register arrangement with constant seconds at 6 o'clock, also containing the date window, and that axis, that twin register design, keeps the dial remarkably balanced and avoids clutter. Now, the movement itself, which you can see behind this image of a contemporary Mercedes-Benz AMG Petronas Formula One car, of the type driven by Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, current championship contenders. The bottom line is that underneath this caseback, you have an in-house IWC caliber 89361, 38 joules with flyback capability. You can actually reset and restart the chronograph with a single push of the reset trigger, a very versatile and fast-paced way to reset a chronograph. That's a complication in its own right, but so is the 4-pole bidirectional Peloton winding system, an IWC mechanical engineering heritage element. It's been upgraded here with twice as many pawls, 2 being traditional, 4 being used in the 89361. It's a free-sprung balance for exceptional shock resistance, so the timing won't be affected quite as much when you're using this sports watch as a sports watch. It has a 68-hour power reserve. It beats at a modern 4 Hz. And yes, when you pull the crown, you do hack the balance, stop the seconds. You allow precise synchronization to a reference time. Should the watch run down, there is a quick set function for the date, and of course the caliber is an in-house IWC movement. You can see this remarkably well-equipped, complicated chronograph and purchase it on our website, watchyouwant.com.